Let's look into why Iran remains one of the hardest countries in the world to defeat. For more than 40 years, the United States and Israel have attempted to contain Iran through sanctions, covert operations, cyber attacks, and regional pressure. Yet the strategic balance in the Middle East has barely shifted. The reason is simple. Iran is one of the most difficult countries on earth to defeat militarily, and the cost of attempting it would be enormous. Welcome to The Opinion, where we examine the strategic realities behind global geopolitical conflicts. Today we are taking a closer look at a question often debated in military and policy circles: why Iran remains so difficult to contain despite decades of pressure from some of the most powerful militaries in the world. Geography. Iran as a natural fortress. The first factor is geography, and geography matters enormously in war. Iran covers roughly 1.65 million square kilometers, making it more than 3 times the size of Iraq. But it is not just large, it is also extremely rugged. Much of the country is dominated by 2 massive mountain systems, the Zagros Mountains in the west and the Alborz Mountains in the north. Between these mountain ranges lie high plateaus and vast desert regions, such as the Dasht-e-Kavir and Dasht-e-Lut. For military planners, this terrain creates a defender's dream. Armored maneuver becomes restricted, large formations are forced into narrow corridors, and supply lines stretch across difficult terrain that can easily be disrupted by defenders. Any invading force would have to move through mountain passes where defenders could concentrate artillery, missiles, and ambushes. More importantly, Iran possesses deep strategic depth. Even if coastal regions or border areas were seized, the country's political and military centers remain far inland. Tehran, Isfahan, and many of Iran's key military facilities are protected not only by air defenses, but also by terrain that favors defenders. In simple terms, Iran is built for defense. Iran's military doctrine: asymmetric warfare. The second factor is doctrine. Iran never attempted to match the United States or Israel in conventional military strength. Instead, its strategy focuses on asymmetric warfare, a doctrine designed to neutralize technologically superior adversaries by increasing the cost and complexity of war. Iran has invested heavily in several key capabilities. First is its ballistic and cruise missile arsenal, one of the largest in the Middle East. These missiles are capable of reaching Israel, US bases across the Gulf, and strategic infrastructure throughout the region. Second is a rapidly expanding drone program. Iranian drones are often inexpensive, relatively simple, and designed to overwhelm air defenses through numbers rather than advanced technology. Third is Iran's naval strategy in the Persian Gulf. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Navy operates hundreds of small, fast attack boats capable of swarm tactics against larger naval vessels. Combined with sea mines and anti-ship missiles, this creates a serious threat to shipping and naval forces in narrow waterways like the Strait of Hormuz. Another crucial component is Iran's network of underground military facilities. Missile bases, storage depots, and command centers are often built deep inside mountains or hardened underground complexes designed to survive airstrikes. The purpose of this doctrine is not to defeat the United States in a conventional battle. Instead, the goal is to make any war long, chaotic, and extremely costly. The proxy strategy: Iran's strategic multiplier. Perhaps Iran's most effective strategic tool is not its conventional military at all. It is its regional proxy network. Over the last 4 decades, Iran has built relationships with armed groups across the Middle East, creating a distributed system of allied forces capable of operating on multiple fronts. One of the most powerful is Hezbollah in Lebanon, which possesses tens of thousands of rockets capable of striking deep inside Israel. In Iraq, Shiite militias aligned with Iran can target US forces and infrastructure. Further south, The Houthi movement in Yemen has demonstrated the ability to strike shipping lanes and disrupt international trade in the Red Sea. Iran also maintains militia networks in Syria and other parts of the region. Together, these forces create what analysts often describe as distributed deterrence. If Iran were attacked directly, the conflict would not remain limited to Iranian territory. Instead, multiple fronts could ignite simultaneously. Israel could face heavy rocket fire from Lebanon. US forces in Iraq and Syria could become targets. Gulf states might face missile attacks. And global shipping lanes could come under pressure. In effect, Iran has transformed the broader Middle East into a potential battlefield. Political constraints on military action. Even with these challenges, the United States still possesses overwhelming military power. But the real constraints are not purely military, they are political. After the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, there is little appetite among the American public for another large-scale conflict in the Middle East. European allies would likely hesitate to support a full invasion of Iran, particularly given the economic consequences such a war could trigger. A conflict with Iran would almost certainly disrupt global oil markets and could cause major shocks to the international economy. There is also the possibility of broader geopolitical escalation involving other major powers, such as Russia or China. Military capability exists. Political willingness is far less certain. Why current strategy focuses on limited actions. Because of these constraints, the current strategy used by Washington and Tel Aviv focuses on limited pressure rather than full confrontation. This includes precision strikes on nuclear infrastructure, cyber operations targeting Iranian systems, covert actions against military networks, and economic sanctions aimed at weakening Iran's economy. These measures can slow Iran's nuclear program and complicate its military planning, but they do not fundamentally change the country's strategic posture. In practice, the goal is management rather than resolution. The ground war scenario. If the objective were to decisively neutralize Iran militarily, the only option would likely be a large-scale ground invasion. Such an operation would be massive. Military planners estimate that 200,000 to 300,000 troops at minimum would likely be required to defeat Iranian forces and secure key regions. Even that level of force might not guarantee success. Iran has a population approaching 90 million people, numerous large cities, and a defense system designed to mobilize irregular forces through the Revolutionary Guard and affiliated militias. Urban warfare combined with mountainous terrain could make the conflict extremely costly. A prolonged insurgency would also be highly likely. Another critical factor is nationalism. While many Iranians oppose their government, history shows that foreign invasions often produce the opposite effect. Populations unite to defend their country. Strategic conclusion. The ongoing standoff between Iran, the United States, and Israel persists because every possible option carries significant risks. Iran's geography favors defense. Its military doctrine is designed for asymmetric warfare, and its regional proxy network ensures that any direct conflict would likely spread across multiple fronts. A decisive military solution would probably require a massive invasion, followed by a long and uncertain occupation. At the moment, neither Washington nor Tel Aviv appears willing to take that step. Instead, the confrontation remains locked in a prolonged grey zone struggle, defined by sanctions, covert operations, proxy warfare, and deterrence, rather than open war. And unless the strategic calculus changes dramatically, that uneasy balance is likely to persist for years to come. If you found this analysis useful, subscribe to The Opinion, leave a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Because understanding the strategic realities behind global conflicts is essential to understanding where the world may be heading next.